Hey you guys, how's it going? It's been a minute. I wanted to get something out to you guys while it's on my spirit. I know I put out some other videos last week, and I do intend to finish those up, talking about the control of the covert, codependent, fragile narcissist, and narcissistic supply systems. I'll be continuing those. But, I don't know, I kind of just want to speak about spirit in this video, and I will get in to some of the control of the narcissist in this as well. But and as you guys know, I am not here as a professional, a spiritual guru. I'm not here to convince you, convert you to anything, be a role model or an example. I don't want to be in any of those categories. Personal expression is what I really care about first and foremost. Freedom of expression, to be in my moment, express that and share that. And if it helps someone, great. That is what I care about most. I wouldn't want to get stuck in any one, because people tend to come for you. They set up these expectations of who you're supposed to be. And yeah, I don't know, it can cause trouble. And I do have a very spiritual side, and a lot of times people want to hide that for fear of being shamed or discredited or judged or whatever. It is what it is. I use all my senses: logic, reason, empathy, intuition, extrasensory shit. I use it all. It's all very normal talk to me. It doesn't mean, but just because you say you're spiritual, though, it doesn't mean that you cannot jump quick as fuck over to your dark side, over to your fierce side if you have to. You can jump into the shadow just like that when you need to. Just because you're spiritual and you're trying to move in the light and do light work doesn't mean you can't jump back over there if you have to. You can. A lot of people get it twisted. They get it all confused and twisted. Let's discuss that for a minute. Spiritual, and we hear this light work a lot. What does it mean to be a light worker? To me, from my perspective, a light worker, what it really means, working in the light. And a lot of times there's nothing light about it. It's a lot of hard-ass work. I mean, in order to even do light work at all and have this profound sense of love, deeper compassion, light, gratitude, humility, authenticity, transparency, being altruistic. I mean, really caring for the well-being of other people and making my life choices, trying my best to, based on that. In order to even have that, I have a very pronounced opposing side. Yeah. Very dark, toxic side. Shadow side, of course. I've been doing deep, dark shadow work for years. Born into childhood trauma and darkness, it requires, if you're doing that work, that's a lifelong thing. And it requires that you go deep within the void and you spend a lot of time there, in the void, in the darkness, on a regular basis, to pull out, sort, examine, work through, and heal and transmute a lot of pain, a lot of darkness, a lot of toxic tendencies that you were born into that are deeply ingrained. You spend a lot of time working that shit, okay? So you can turn it to light, so you can turn it into something productive, something that hopefully doesn't harm others, not sit in it and let it harm others. You learn over the years to control. I don't ever deny those sides of myself. So that's why I'm putting this out. I want people to get a good, well-balanced idea. I own every bit of myself. Dark, light, toxic, all of it. I want people to have a good, well-balanced idea of what light work really is about. Because there's a lot of people flying around on magic carpets and meditating on unicorns, and be nice. Most light workers, true light work, true work on self so that you can be in that place of light is really fucking dark, hardcore, brutal work. Just saying. Not a lot of people can do it. A lot of people are terrified of that. They run from it. And they don't want you doing it either. Especially the narcissist. Oh my God. They are the biggest cowards. They just are. I'm sorry. They've been hiding from their emotions forever. And they're terrified of reality, of real emotion, depth of emotion. Oh God. I learned so much living with something like that for years. And you know, it saddens me, but oh my God, I went through so much heartbreak, and all I wanted was to make that relationship work. I had so much love. But in retrospect, it really saddens me that I'm almost thinking that that's what it happened for. Simply for me to come out with this wisdom, and that just blows my mind. I mean, because you feel so invaded, you feel so ripped off and so tricked and bait and switched, and by the time almost spiritually dead, because a narcissist wants to mentally, emotionally, and spiritually murder you, and they will keep trying long after you leave them. And you almost feel like, I'm gonna get something out of this, because you feel so invaded, so robbed, so taken of everything that you are. So all you can do at the end of it is make the right decision to heal yourself and give that information and knowledge to others. That's all you can do, is take that as wisdom and say, okay, God, call it universe, you guys can call it whatever you want. Your spirit team, I have a spirit team, whatever. Call it what you want, but you finally have to take your hands off the wheel and say, okay, I am not in control. I cannot handle this situation. And surrender. That's what it's about. You have to surrender yourself and say, whatever my higher calling is here on this earth, it's not for some little narcissist to sit up and dictate what I do and make me run after his ass. No. Whatever my higher calling is, and how dare people like that think that they can have the entitlement, the audacity to interfere with someone else's higher calling, someone else's life path. But they do. But no, that's not what I was put here for. So all I can do at the end of a situation like that is say, okay, whatever wisdom you wanted me to pull out of that, it wasn't about what I wanted. It wasn't about what my heart wanted. So now I'm going to have to take what I was given, what I ended up with, and I'm going to have to use that knowledge and that wisdom in the best and highest way I know how. And I listen. I do what I'm called to do. If that pisses somebody off, oh well. If there are people out there that have been judging me for years, thinking she talks too much, she tells too much, that's y'all. He didn't understand it either, even though he was told in the very beginning. But see, he wanted to try me. It is what it is. I do what I'm called to do. I follow my calling. I follow my intuition. I follow my higher guides. I don't follow what these little people send in my life to control and distract and use and dictate. I don't follow that. If they're not acting out of higher order and higher spirit and in the best interest of my well-being and putting that effort and matching that energy, and I pick up on that, no, I have to protect myself from that. So anyway, where was I, guys? Yeah, I don't avoid any sides of myself, though. That's the key to working on real authenticity, is embracing all of the sides of yourself, embodying all of those things. Too many people get confused. I mean, especially narcissists. They're all hiding from their authentic self. They hiss and foam at the mouth, and when an authentic person comes in the room, they just can't stand it. Especially the covert, fragile narcissists. The grandiose narcs fit in better with everybody. They're not too fucked up about it because they have more confidence than a covert, fragile narcissist. The covert, fragile narcissist is just the worst. they have very little confidence, very little self-esteem. It's just, oh, poor them all the time. But even the average everyday person, people are not used to authenticity. Even the average everyday person, that balance of all of their emotions and embracing who they really are, how they really feel, pulling that shit up and being comfortable with facing and identifying things and putting it out there. It's just that a lot of the masses are asleep. I mean, I'm just saying, it is what it is. Sheeple. It happens to all of us. We get on autopilot. We're sloughing through our life like zombies half the time, on a clock. And a lot of people are just mortified. They don't know what authenticity really looks like or feels like. To be really transparent and really feeling themselves. Knowing who they are, what they're feeling, why they're feeling it. And just being in that. A lot of people are horrified of that state. They're just like shocked. Like what? They don't. Yeah, and it's shocking to me. But yeah, a lot of the masses do not know how to deal with a truly authentic person. And a lot of people get it confused, you know. They say, oh, well, that's just abrasive. They just don't have any manners or any tact or any privacy. No, it's not that at all. Authentic people know how to embrace all of those things and use them when needed. It's just that they also have the ability to be very, very forthcoming, transparent, first with themselves. That's what it requires. See, so many people are walking through life lying to themselves to get by. Every day, lying to themselves about something. And when you strip all of your lies away, you strip all of your illusions away, everything that you might have relied on to get by, tell yourself this, tell yourself that. When you strip all that shit away, and you have to get really, really, really real with who you are, down to the grit inside. Do that deep, dark shadow work. Hey, that's what comes out of it. A very empowered person who can really connect, who can really love in a profound way, who can really experience humility and gratitude and all of these things. So it is what it is. That's just my feelings about it. You know, I wouldn't say dwell on your darker sides 24/7. No, nobody's saying that. Nobody is saying dwell on the past, dwell in darkness. I'm saying balance. I'm saying you have to face all that stuff in order to get better and be able to feel everything else on a really profound and authentic level, to really touch base with that. But yeah, guys, let's make this really clear. People will try to box you in, narrow you down, use things against you when you're in either mode. When you're in light mode, they'll say, well, that's not real. You're always angry and speaking out, and they'll try to throw things in your face. Or when you are in your dark mode and your darker expression, they'll try to throw the other side in your face. Well, I thought you were spiritual. I thought you were a lightworker, blah, blah, blah. Well, the universe wouldn't like that if you did that. I literally had a damn narcissistic manipulator say that to me not long ago. Try to throw that shit in my face. Like I was gonna back down from calling their ass out. People think just because you say you're spiritual and you're working on a certain level, that your ass can't indulge in your dark, toxic side at will. That you can't jump over to the petty side if you need to. Sometimes you have to fight fire with fire. Just saying. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. But there's a difference in where our intention, see, intention is everything. It's where your intention is. If you're a person that sits up with the intention, constantly jealous, insecure, just balled up in all your own fucking mess all the time, hating on other people, wanting to steal their light, fucking with so many different lives. Is that your intention as to why you're so hateful and what your actions are? Or are you responding to someone who tried to fuck with your light? Are you responding? Are you taking an action because you weren't given much of a choice? It's really what is in your true nature. What is in your truest of intent? Okay? That's really what it comes down to, guys. All right. But yeah, to be a truly authentic human, we are multidimensional. We must embody all that we can of our truest nature and get to the bottom of all of it. Really embrace that. And it's hard for a lot of people to do. It's really hard work. But I'm insulted when people try to narrow me to one or the other. I got to be all good or all bad. No. Narcissists are terrible about trying to twist your true nature, control your view of yourself, get in your head. No. Because they don't have a self. Many of them are so terrified of their own emotions and they live totally under a false identity. Totally numb, chaotic, goofy, small talk. They want to force you to stay on the surface all the time, superficial. They call it fun. I'm fun. I could tell y'all so many tricks that if you flip their sentence over, you will discover the real truth. There's always something hiding behind their energy. Always an angle. Every word that comes out of their mouth, it has a different meaning. It's never authentic. They never mean it in the way that they want you to think that they mean it. And you have to learn to discern, to read the energy behind the energy on a narcissist. It's almost like an algebra equation. But people like that are, when they cross paths with an authentic motherfucker, when they cross paths with something real, oh my God, a narcissist will blow a gasket, especially the covert fragile. And they're not going to, they don't show anything openly like the grandiose narcissist. But they start hissing and like a scalded cat. You can just read it on their energy. When they are in the midst of someone authentic, they are flipping shit. They can't stand it. And I now know fully why I was so secretly hated, despised by my ex-partner. Under the surface, always resenting me, trying to one-up me, compete with me, spiteful to me. It was such a painful thing to go through, to live that. And I didn't understand him for so long. I didn't understand what it was. So no, I wasn't trying to leave. I was trying to hang on to my own brain. But I had to start hiding my happiness, hiding my joy. He was an emotional bully. So that would just... he couldn't stand it if he thought I was thinking for myself. Or that I had reservations about, watching his demeanor or calling it out, confronting it. So I would have to try and keep my own brain, my own knowledge, keep my intelligence to myself to a degree, and, go along with what he wanted to hear. It's kind of how they say you have to walk on eggshells and make sure you're praising them and speaking the small talk. Oh God, they really try to take control of your brain. And it was a hard juggling act for me until I finally got sick of it, until I finally learned more about what was really going on, and it just got to be too much to bear. It's a horrible thing to have to go through with somebody and still keep loving them even when you find out all that stuff. But they end up discarding you finally in a very horrible way. It's just, ugh. But anyway, but now okay, authentic. Back on the topic of that. Spirit, spiritual, light work, all that shit. It all has to be a balance. So don't ever let anybody hem you up and try to manipulate you and say, well, if you're this and you're that. No. Authentic embraces all of themselves. They embrace it all. The shadow, the pain, the darkness, the shame, the toxic, the light, the love, the joy, the gratitude, all of it. It's a balance, okay? Not dwelling too long in the shadows and darkness, but we spend time there, like I said, a lot and regularly, getting knowledge and insight about ourselves, about our darker side, and learning about it, transmuting it, working on it, understanding it, using it for better things. It's all very real, all those sides. It's like I said, it's just that a lot of humans are afraid of their authenticity. They're afraid of themselves. A lot of people live on autopilot, like I said. Pacified, numb, stuck in our own matrices sometimes, right? Yeah. Prisons, mental prisons that we build for ourselves. Yeah. You know, and it's a hard path when you're digging for truth. The truth of your own existence. The truth, it's a lonely path. It's a hard path. Not everyone is doing that. Not everyone's here to do that work. And so what? That's fine. For those that are harming none, that either don't have any of this work to do, or they don't desire to do it, long as they're harming no one with that energy, and they're in their own little world, and as long as they're denial, or they don't have this work to do in the first place, as long as that doesn't harm anybody, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to do anything dramatic with it. If you're called to get up and speak, then follow that calling and don't be ashamed of it. But if you're not, that's fine too. That's fine too. As long as it doesn't steal anyone else's energy. But for those of us on this path, working on ourselves and authenticity, it is very true to our nature. What you see coming out of a person like that, whether it's pissed off, whether it's light, whether it's dark, whatever the fuck it is, all of that shit that you see, it is very authentic and genuine to that person. They do not put on airs, okay? It's not an act. It's all real. But it's a very painful path. Like I said, it's part of it. You have to see a lot of people you love fall off. It's like you just stand back and watch. You know, a lot of times being deeply spiritual, those types of people require a lot of solitude because they study a lot. They listen to spirit a lot. They connect that way. And a narcissist hates that. They're going to make fun of you for it. They're going to try and convince you you're crazy. There's something wrong with you. You should just be like them. Just in this world, drinking it up, getting out of your brain, disconnecting, terrified, cowardly, scared, preying on people, clinging on to somebody's leg, doing nothing. Yeah, they want you to be like them, terrified, having emptiness inside, nothing inside. So they will try to convince you that you're deeper connecting. They'll do anything they can to take that from you. They won't let you sleep. They won't let you meditate. You can't even go take a piss with the covert, fragile, codependent. Now that grandiose narc, they're going to be way different. They got a lot of shit to do. They have things the covert narc doesn't have. The grandiose has energy. They can manufacture their own energy, self-motivation. The covert codependent can't do any of that. They have no energy inside. They have to have other people to live on their energy, to regulate their emotions. But that's the sad part of being an authentic person and working on this path and listening to your calling. You hope to be able to find love, but when you are on this path, you're not just sitting up desperate for love. You've done a lot of that shadow work, codependency and self-esteem, and you don't necessarily need to cling to anybody. And they hate that. They hate that. They want you to be needy and clingy and trapped. And, you know, you may fall back into those patterns. I did. But I work very hard to straighten it out as well. And I know what's right. But when you're on a path like this, yeah, not many can withstand it. Not many can be this brutally honest with themselves. They're going to betray you. They turn out to be fake. They start running for the hills, crawling back to the shadows where they prefer to dwell forever. Even if you told them over and over again when you met them, this is my path. This is my thing, my purpose, my calling, my work on self. Spending a lot of time doing self-reflection, examination, therapy, emotional and psychological and spiritual work. I intend to be public with it. Even if you tell them these things. A toxic codependent who is unawake or unaware of themselves, or a narcissist, or both if they have all of that at once. Somebody who's extremely codependent, or even if they've been married for a long number of years. You know, they don't necessarily have to be a narcissist. Somebody who's been married for a long number of years is going to be codependent for a while. Like a fish out of water. Oh my God, I gotta find somebody else. They might not be a narcissist, but if you end up with a person who's both narcissist and super codependent, oh my God. And they will agree to just about anything to get in your life. They will deliberately and overzealously agree. Go out of their way to convince you that this is also their path. And they love everything you're doing, and it means so much to them. Yeah, this is where the robbery comes in. This is the bait and switch. Yeah, they'll copy you, love bomb you, find out every meaningful thing in your life and copy it. Because in their mind, they're so used to being fake, pretending to others and others. They're used to having fake people in their life. That someone who actually means what the fuck they say, and someone who's being actually authentic with a strong identity and purpose, is so foreign to them they can't even grasp it. They can't even wrap their fucking mind around it. So number one, they do not take you seriously at all when you tell them you're on a spiritual path. This is what you are. This is what you do. This is how it's going to turn out if you're not who you say you are. So let's get this shit clear. Even if you were that real with them, they don't take you seriously at all. Because number one, a narcissist, a covert, codependent, fragile narcissist, has no faith in their own abilities whatsoever. They have no confidence. They cannot trust themselves. They don't know what that's like. And so why would they trust someone else? Why would they assume that you and your abilities and you mean what you say? They wouldn't. They don't take you seriously at all. Number two, they aren't there to pay attention, listen, and learn about you in any of the ways that would be in your best interest to support you, your goals, or your well-being. Only there to learn enough to control and manipulate you. That's it. Because they have a strong agenda and plans for you. They have a total blueprint. I could do a whole nother video on some of these things, and I will go back through this and do other videos to build onto these topics. They have a total blueprint stuck in their mind already when they meet you. They already have a formula, a fantasy, and an agenda planned out for your whole life. What you're going to do for them and how it's going to be. Yep. It's the same thing as drug addiction, what they teach in recovery. You know, how the addict is the movie writer, producer, they're doing all of it. They act, they play all the parts, they maneuver everybody, how they want everybody to be, all their crutches and supports. Narcissists the same way. And when you've got an addicted narcissist, you might as well have Lucifer. But there's several things going on in their mind at once. Guys, this is going to run into a part 2. It's about to cut off. It's getting a little too long. Basically, they think that they have you fooled and under control because they're so detached from reality. They're so deranged and entitled that way. You know, they just assume, of course, they'll be able to do whatever they want with you. Of course, their plan would work. Of course, you wouldn't be clued into it. Guys, I'm going to cut this one, and I'm going to get part 2 right up, okay? We're going to talk more about getting deeper into the controlling tactics of the narcissist.